everybody. Welcome all of you for today's Krishna book reading session. Let us begin with prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण केशव कृष्ण केशव पाहि मां राम राघव राम राघव रक्ष माम् Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome all of you once again for today's Krishna book reading session. We are reading from the first chapter of Krishna book. I will continue to read from where we left yesterday. The format of this session will be every 10 to 15 minutes, I will stop reading and I will be asking questions based on what we have read. And at that time, all of you can raise your hand and attempt to answer the questions. So please stay attentive and alert while I'm reading the book. Okay. Reading from Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by Vishwaguru, His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaраvinda Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada. Chapter 1, Advent of Lord Krishna, continuation. Vasudeva thought of his wife as follows. For the present, let me save the life of Devaki. Then later on, if there are children, I shall see how to save them. He further thought, if in the future I get a child who can kill Kamsa, just as Kamsa is thinking, then both Devaki and the child will be saved because the law of providence is inconceivable. But now, but now, some way or other, let me save the life of Devaki. There is no certainty how a living entity contacts a certain type of body, just as there is no certainty how the blazing fire comes in contact with a certain type of wood in the forest. When there is fire, it is experienced that the blazing fire sometimes leaps over one tree and catches another by the influence of the wind. Similarly, a living entity may be very careful and fearful in the matter of executing his duties, but it is still very difficult for him to know what type of body he is going to get in the next life. Maharaj Bharata was very faithfully executing the duties of self realization, but by chance he contacted temporary affection for a deer and he had to accept his next life in the body of a deer. Vasudeva, after deliberating on how to save his wife, began to speak to Kamsa with great respect, although Kamsa was the most sinful man. Sometimes it happens that a most virtuous person like Vasudeva has to flatter a person like Kamsa, a most vicious person. That is the way of all diplomatic transactions. Although Vasudeva was deeply aggrieved, he presented himself outwardly as cheerful. He addressed the shameless Kamsa in that way because he was so atrocious. Vasudeva said to Kamsa, my dear brother in law, please consider that you have no danger from your sister. You are awaiting some danger because you have heard a prophetic voice in the sky. But the danger is to come from the sons of your sister, who are not present now. And who knows, there may or may not be sons in the future. Considering all this, you are safe for the present. Nor is there cause of fear from your sister. If there are any sons born of her, I promise that I shall present all of them to you for necessary action. Kamsa knew the value of Vasudeva's word of honor, and he was convinced by his argument. For the time being, he desisted from the heinous killing of his sister. Thus, Vasudeva was pleased and praised the decision of Kamsa. In this way, he returned to his home. After due course of time, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to 8 male children as well as one daughter. When the first son was born, Vasudeva kept his word of honor and immediately brought the child before Kamsa. It is said that Vasudeva was very much elevated and famous for his word of honor, and he wanted to maintain this fame. Although it was very painful for Vasudeva to hand over the newly born child, Kamsa was very glad to receive him. But he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudeva. This event is very exemplary. For a great soul like Vasudeva, there is nothing considered to be painful in the course of discharging one's duty. A learned person like Vasudeva carries out his duties without hesitation. On the other hand, a demon like Kamsa never hesitates in committing any abominable action. It is said, therefore, that a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. A heinous person like Kamsa can act in any sinful way, and a devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kamsa became satisfied by the action of Vasudeva. He was surprised to see Vasudeva keeping his promise and being compassionate upon him and pleased. He began to speak as follows. My dear Vasudeva, you need not present this child to me. I am not in danger from this child. I have heard that the eighth child born of you and Devaki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back. When Vasudeva was returning home with his firstborn child, although he was pleased by the behavior of Kamsa, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kamsa was uncontrolled. An atheistic person cannot be firm in his word of honor. One who cannot control the senses cannot be steady in his determination. The great politician Chanakya Pandit said, never put your trust in a diplomat or in a woman. Those who are addicted to unrestricted sense gratification can never be truthful, nor can they be trusted with any faith. At that time, the great sage Narada came to Kamsa. He was informed of Kamsa's becoming compassionate to Vasudeva and returning his firstborn child. Narada was very anxious to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. He therefore informed Kamsa that personalities like Nanda Maharaj and all the cowherd men and girls and the wives of the cowherd men in Vrindavan, and on the other side, Vasudeva, his father Shurasena, and all his relatives born in the family of Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty were preparing for the appearance of the Lord. Narada warned Kamsa to be careful of the friends and well-wishers and all the demigods taking birth in those families. Kamsa and his friends and advisors were all demons. Demons are always afraid of demigods. After being thus informed by Narada about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kamsa at once became alert. He understood that since the demigods had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. He at once arrested both his brother in law Vasudeva and Devaki and put them behind prison bars. Within the prison, shackled in iron chains, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year, and Kamsa, thinking each of the babies to be the incarnation of Krishna, of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the eighth child, but after the visit of Narada, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, it was better to kill all the babies who took birth of Devaki and Vasudeva. This action of Kamsa is not very difficult to understand. There are many instances in the history of the world of persons in the royal order who have killed father, brother, or a whole family and friends for the satisfaction of their ambitions. There is nothing astonishing about this, for the demoniac can kill anyone for their nefarious ambitions. Kamsa was made aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narada. He learned that in his previous birth he was a demon of the name Kalanemi and that he was killed by Vishnu. Having taken his birth in the Bhoja family, he decided to become the deadly enemy of the Yadu dynasty. Krishna was going to take birth in that family, and Kamsa was very much afraid that he would be killed by Krishna just as he was killed in his last birth. He first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasena because he was the chief king among the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andhaka dynasties, and he also occupied the kingdom of Shurasena, Vasudeva's father. He declared himself the king of all such places. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the first chapter of Krishna, entitled Advent of Lord Krishna. So we have completed reading the first chapter. Now it is time for a short quiz. I hope all of you attentively heard what I read. So I'm going to ask you questions now. If you know the answer, you can raise your hand. There is an option on Zoom to raise your hand. You can raise your hand and I will select who can answer the question. So here is the first question. Complete this statement. Vasudeva thought, if in the future I get a child who can kill Kamsa, just as Kamsa is thinking, then both Devaki and the child will be saved because dash is inconceivable. Complete the statement. Yes. Radha Krishna Prabhu? Yes.
Will of providence.
Yes, the law of providence or the will of providence is the right answer. So, will of providence means whatever is destined to happen, the will of the Supreme Lord, that nobody can change. So, Vasudeva's thinking was, now somehow let me save Devaki from being killed by Kamsa, and in the future, as per the prophecy, if Devaki's eighth child is going to kill kill Kamsa, then who can stop? The will of providence is inconceivable. Okay, law of providence is the right answer. Next question. So, what is the analogy given by Srila Prabhupada in this part of the chapter to describe that however careful one may be in the matter of executing his duties, still it will be very difficult to know what type of body one will get in his next life. What is the analogy given? Yes, Abhishek Kumar.
Yeah, Prabhu, Bharat Maharaj example was given when he attached to a deer
Okay.
and and he has to take birth again in a deer form in the next life.
Yes, that is the right answer. So Maharaj Bharat, and in his youth, he left his kingdom, opulence, went to the forest to do tapasya. But because he became attached to a deer, he had to take birth as a deer in his next life. Another analogy also is presented by Srila Prabhupada. Just like forest fire, all of a sudden forest fire happens and there is no certainty how it starts. Just by friction between two trees, forest fire is generated and it keeps spreading because of the influence of wind. So in the same way, we also, there is no certainty. We cannot know what kind of body we will get in the next life. Okay, the next question. Uh, Kamsa knew the value of Vasudeva's dash. Complete the statement. Kamsa knew the value of Vasudeva's dash. Who can answer? Raise your hand. Yes, again we have Abhishek Kumar. Yes, Abhishek.
Uh, Vasudeva words, Prabhu. Promise. What
Exact
you
word.
promise.
Exact. Uh, yeah, that what you're saying is correct, but the exact word used by Srila Prabhupada, who can say? Kamsa knew the value of Vasudeva's word of honor. That is the right answer. Word of honor means promise to stick to one's words. Vasudeva was famous for that. Vasudeva was very truthful. That's a qualification of a devotee. So Vasudeva would always make sure that whatever promise he gave, he will keep it up. So this was known even to a demoniac person like Kamsa. So that is very interesting. Even Kamsa knew how truthful is Vasudeva. Okay, the next question. Yes. So please complete this sentence. Or, yeah. Uh, a learned person like Vasudeva carries out his duties without dash, without hesitation is the right answer. Okay, next question. Who informed Kamsa about his past life? Yes, Shashiram.
Narad Muni informed.
Yes. So Narad Muni came and informed. So when Kamsa returned the first child back to Vasudeva, Narad Muni became very anxious. Like this, if demon becomes compassionate, then the advent of Krishna gets delayed. So a devotee, pure devotee like Narad Muni is always very eager to witness the pastimes of Krishna. So he wanted to uh, quickly make the advent of Krishna happen. Therefore, Narad Muni went to Kamsa and revealed that all the family members of Vasudeva and they're all demigods who have come to assist the Lord. The Supreme Lord is going to soon appear. In your past life, also, you were a demon and you were killed by the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So be careful. Any child can be Krishna. This kind of a uh, faith was created in the heart of Kamsa by Narad Muni, and that's how Narad Muni kills all the children born of Vasudeva and Devaki. Yeah, last question. What was the name of Kamsa in his past life? Yes, Nanda Kumar.
Kalanemi, Prabhu. Kalanemi.
Yes, Kalanemi. Kalanemi. Kalanemi is the right answer. So Kalanemi was the uh, was actually the demon killed by Lord Vishnu in the past life, and Kalanemi again took birth as Kamsa. Right? It is okay. So with this, we come to the end of chapter one. Now let us begin chapter two. Chapter two is very special. It is called Garbhastuti. When Krishna was in the womb of Mother Devaki, all the devatas appeared uh, in the prison house and they started glorifying Krishna. They started offering prayers. That is called Garbhastuti. So let us read. Please pay attention while I'm reading. Chapter 2 entitled Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the Womb. King Kamsa not only occupied the kingdoms of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andhaka dynasties and the kingdom of Shurasena, but he also made alliances with all the other demoniac kings as follows: the demon Pralamba, demon Baka, demon Chanura, demon Trinavarta, demon Adhasura, demon Mushtika, demon Arishta, demon Dvivida, demon Putana, demon Keshi, and demon Dhenuka. At that time, Jarasandha was the king of Magadha province, known at present as Bihar state. Thus, by his diplomatic policy, Kamsa consolidated the most powerful kingdom of his time under the protection of Jarasandha. He made further alliances with such kings as Banasura and Bhaumasura until he was the strongest. Then he began to behave most inimically towards the Yadu dynasty into which Krishna was to take his birth. Being harassed by Kamsa, the kings of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andhaka dynasties began to take shelter in different states, such as the state of the Kurus, the state of the Panchalas, and the states known as Kekaya, Shalva, Vidarbha, Nishadha, Videha, and Koshala. Kamsa broke the solidarity of the Yadu kingdom as well as the Bhoja and Andhaka. He made his position the most solid within the vast tract of land known at that time as Bharatavarsha. When Kamsa killed the six babies of Devaki and Vasudeva one after another, many friends and relatives of Kamsa approached him and requested him to discontinue these heinous activities. But all of them became worshippers of Kamsa. When Devaki became pregnant for the seventh time, a plenary expansion of Krishna, known as Ananta, appeared within her womb. Devaki was overwhelmed both with jubilation and lamentation. She was joyful, for she could understand that Lord Vishnu had taken shelter within her womb, but at the same time, she was sorry that as soon as the child would come out, Kamsa would kill him. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, became compassionate upon the fearful condition of the Yadus due to the atrocities committed by Kamsa. He ordered the appearance of his Yogamaya or his internal potency. Krishna is the Lord of the universe, but he is especially the Lord of the Yadu dynasty. This Yogamaya is the principal potency. Shashi, please mute yourself. Yeah. This Yogamaya is the principal potency of the personality of Godhead. In the Vedas, it is stated that the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has multi-potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. All the different potencies are acting externally and internally, and Yogamaya is the chief of all potencies. He ordered the appearance of Yogamaya in the land of Brajabhumi in Vrindavan, which is always decorated and full with beautiful cows. In Vrindavan, Rohini, one of the wives of Vasudeva, was residing at the house of King Nanda and Queen Yashoda. Not only Rohini, but many others in the Yadu dynasty were scattered all over the country due to their fear of the atrocities of Kamsa. Some of them were even living in the caves of the mountains. The Lord thus informed Yogamaya, under the imprisonment of Kamsa are Devaki and Vasudeva, and at the present moment, my plenary expansion Shesha is within the womb of Devaki. You can arrange the transfer of Shesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. After this arrangement, I am personally going to appear in the womb of Devaki with my full potencies. Then I shall appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, and you shall appear as the daughter of Nanda and Yashoda in Vrindavan. Since you will appear as my contemporary sister, people within the world will worship you with all kinds of valuable presentations: incense, candles, flowers, and offerings of sacrifices. You shall quickly satisfy their desires for sense gratification. People who are after materialistic affection will worship you under the different forms of your expansions, which will be named Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sharada, and Ambika. Krishna and Yogamaya appeared as brother and sister, the supreme powerful and the supreme power. Although there is no clear distinction between the powerful and the power, power is always subordinate to the powerful. Those who are materialistic are worshippers of the power, but those who are transcendentalists are worshippers of the powerful. Krishna is the supreme powerful, and Durga is the supreme power within the material world. Actually, people in the Vedic culture worship both the powerful and the power. There are many hundreds of thousands of temples of Vishnu and Devi, and sometimes they are worshipped simultaneously. The worshipper of the power, Durga, or the external energy of Krishna, may achieve all kinds of material success very easily, but anyone who wants to be elevated transcendentally must engage in worshipping the powerful in Krishna consciousness. The Lord also declared to Yogamaya that his plenary expansion, Anantashesha, was within the womb of Devaki. On account of being forcibly attracted to the womb of Rohini, he will be known as Sankarshana and would be the source of all spiritual power or bala, by which one could be able to attain the highest bliss of life, which is called Ramana. Therefore, the plenary portion Ananta would be known after his appearance either as Sankarshana or Balarama. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhya. The purport is that one cannot attain the supreme or any form of self realization without being sufficiently favored by Balaram. Bala does not mean physical strength. No one can attain spiritual perfection by physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is infused by Balarama or Sankarshana. Ananta or Shesha is the power which sustains all the planets in their different positions. Materially, this sustaining power is known as the law of gravitation, but actually it is the display of the potency of Sankarshana. Balarama or Sankarshana is spiritual power or the original spiritual master. Therefore, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is also the incarnation of Balarama, is the original spiritual master. And the spiritual master is the representative of Balarama, the supreme personality of Godhead, who supplies spiritual strength. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is confirmed that the spiritual master is the manifestation of the mercy of Krishna. When Yogamaya was thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she circumambulated the Lord and then appeared within this material world according to his order. When the Supreme Person, when the Supreme Powerful Personality of Godhead transferred Lord Shesha from the womb, when the Supreme Powerful Personality of Godhead transferred Lord Shesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, both of them were under the spell of Yoga Maya, which is also called Yoga Nidra. When this was done, people understood that Devaki's seventh pregnancy was a miscarriage. Thus, although Balaram appeared as the son of Devaki, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini to appear as her son. After this arrangement, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is always ready to place his full potencies in his unalloyed devotees, entered as the Lord of the whole creation within the mind of Vasudeva. It is understood in this connection that Lord Krishna first of all situated himself in the unalloyed heart of Devaki. He was not put into the womb of Devaki by seminal discharge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable potency, can appear in any way. It is not necessary for him to appear in the ordinary way by seminal injection within the womb of a woman. Okay, now the questions. What does the Upanishads mention about about Balarama? Please raise your hand. What does the Upanishads mention about spiritual strength or Balarama? Yes, Radha Krishna Prabhu. Please unmute yourself and speak.
Sorry, bro. Hare Krishna. So scripture mentions like Balaram is the Shankarshana who attracted the
Okay.
womb of Rohini Devi, and it is prescribed mentioned as Parasha Shakti Vividaiva shloka, like, and he is the original
No, no, no.
spiritual.
Upanishad. What do the Upanishads say about Balarama? Okay, let us hear from Damodar Prabhu. Yes, Damodar. Please unmute. You raise your hand.
Bro, Baladeva is spiritual master potency. Bro.
Okay. Anybody else wants to try? Yes, Preeti Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please. Go
Hare
on.
Krishna, bro. Prakhar here. Prabhu,
Yes.
the
Prakhar. Yeah.
Upanishads say that unless one is especially favored, sufficiently favored by Balarama, one
Hmm.
cannot attain to lotus feet of Krishna because he is the source of all
Yes.
the spiritual power.
Yes. That's the right answer. Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyaha. This is a statement from the Upanishads. So, one who is Balahina, that means one who has not received the favor of Lord Balarama, such a person cannot attain Krishna, cannot attain self realization. This is what the Upanishads say about Balarama. So many times people misunderstand Bala mentioned here in the Upanishad means physical strength, but actually that's not a fact. With physical strength, one cannot attain spiritual realization. Here, Bala means the spiritual strength which is actually given by Lord Balarama. That's the right answer. Okay, let's go to the next question. Uh, yes. Now, the next question is yes, what are the names of the three dynasties uh, whose solidarity was broken by Kamsa? Kamsa tried to create disturbance in the members of three dynasties. Which three dynasties? Yes, Prakhar. Hare Krishna. Prakhar, you want to answer?
Hare Krishna,
Anyone
bro.
wants to? Yes.
Yadu and Bhoja, I remember. Third one, I don't know.
Yes, Andhaka. Third one is Andhaka. So Yadu dynasty, Bhoja dynasty, and Andhaka dynasty. These were all the dynasties, different families uh, where Kamsa tried to, control them and broke their mutual cooperation. He wanted to create a fear among all these dynasties and ascertain his supreme position. So Bhoja, Yadu, and Andhaka dynasties. Okay, the next question is what was the name of the present Bihar state 5,000 years ago when Krishna appeared? What was that province called as? Yes, Shashiram. Uh-huh.
Magadha province.
Magadha. Yes, Magadha is the right answer. Magadha was the name of Bihar, and the king of Magadha was Jarasandha, another great, powerful, demoniac king. This Jarasandha was actually the father in law of Kamsa. Jarasandha had two daughters, Asti and Prapti. Both of them were given in marriage to Kamsa. So, in this way, Kamsa and Jarasandha were in laws, they were related to each other. So, Jarasandha was the king of Magadha, presently known as Bihar. Okay. So, in the Vedic culture, there are hundreds of temples of both dash and dash. Who can answer? Very easy question. There are hundreds and thousands of temples of both dash and dash. Yes, Hari Sai.
Yogamaya and Krishna. Yogamaya means Durga Devi or
Yeah.
like plenary expansions of Yogamaya.
Yes. So there are hundreds of thousands of temples of both Vishnu and Devi. So Vishnu is the supreme powerful person. Devi is the supreme power. Yes, that's the right answer. So those who desire material advancement, they worship Durga, and but those who want liberation from the material entanglement, they should worship Lord Vishnu. Okay. What is the name of Balarama which was given to him because of being forcibly attracted from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini? What was the name of Balaram? Because he was attracted. The same devotees are raising their hands. I want others also to please participate. Uh, what is the name of Balaram? Uh, yes, Damodar Prabhu.
Sankarshana Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sankarshana.
Yes, Sankarshana is the right answer. Sankarshana, because he was attracted from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. He is called Sankarshana, and Prabhupada explains that Sankarshana is none other than uh, what scientists say law of gravitation. That is actually a display of the potency or power of Sankarshana, which keeps all the planets in their position. So this Lord Balarama is the original spiritual master. So in Kali Yuga, what is Lord Balarama represented as? Who can answer? Yes, Abhishek Kumar.
The spiritual master, Prabhu.
Okay, Shashiram.
Hello, Prabhu.
What is the answer?
Lord Nityananda Prabhu.
Yes, Lord Nityananda is the right answer. Lord Balarama, who appeared in Dwapar Yuga, again appeared in Kali Yuga as Nityananda Prabhu to assist the pastimes of the Supreme Lord as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Balarama and Nityananda Prabhu, they are actually the Guru Tattva, the original spiritual master, and the bona fide spiritual master is actually a representative of Nityananda Balarama. Okay, so now let us continue to read. Okay, one more last question. Uh, how did Krishna appear? Where did Krishna first appear before entering the womb of Devaki? Yes, Radha Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, he first appeared in the mind of Vasudeva and in the heart of Devaki. And then,
Yes, that's the right answer. So Krishna first appeared in the mind of Vasudeva. From the mind of Vasudeva, he was transferred into the heart of Devaki, and from there he moved to the womb of Devaki. So Krishna did not appear in the womb of Devaki through the natural biological process. So this is a very important point we should remember. Okay, let's continue now to read. Please pay attention. When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and scorching to the common man. The form of the Lord, situated in the pure, unalloyed heart of Vasudeva, is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere and specifically within the heart is called Dhamma. Dhamma does not only refer to Krishna's form, but his name, his form, his quality, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full potencies was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun's rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva. He was beyond the conditions of the ordinary living entity. When Krishna is there, it is to be understood that all his plenary expansions, such as Narayana, and incarnations like Lord Narasimha, Varaha, etc., are with him, and they are not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second and the cause of all creation. Devaki became the residence of the Absolute Truth, but because she was within the house of Kamsa, she looked just like a suppressed fire or like misused education. When fire is covered by the walls of a pot or is kept in a jug, the illuminating rays of the fire cannot be very much appreciated. Similarly, misused knowledge, which does not benefit the people in general, is not very much appreciated. So, Devaki was kept within the prison walls of Kamsa's palace, and no one could see her transcendental beauty, which resulted from her conceiving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kamsa, however, saw the transcendental beauty of his sister Devaki, and he at once concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had taken shelter in her womb. She had never looked, she had never before looked so wonderfully beautiful. He could distinctly understand that there was something wonderful within the womb of Devaki. In this way, Kamsa became perturbed. He was sure that the Supreme Personality of Godhead would kill him in the future and that he had now come. Kamsa began to think, what is to be done with Devaki? Surely she has Vishnu or Krishna within her womb. So it is certain that Krishna has come to execute the mission of the demigods. And even if I immediately kill Devaki, his mission cannot be frustrated. Kamsa knew very well that no one can frustrate the purpose of Vishnu. Any intelligent man can understand that the laws of God cannot be violated. His purpose will be served in spite of all impediments offered by the demons. Kamsa thought, if I kill Devaki at the present moment, Vishnu will enforce his supreme will more vehemently. To kill Devaki just now would be a most abominable act. No one desires to kill his reputation, even in an awkward situation. If I kill Devaki now, my reputation will be spoiled. Devaki is a woman and she is under my shelter. She is pregnant, and if I kill her, immediately all my reputation, the result of pious activities, and duration of life will be finished. He also further deliberated. A person who is too cruel, even in his lifetime, is as good as dead. No one likes a cruel person during his lifetime, and after his death, people curse him. On account of his self identification with the body, he must be degraded and pushed into the darkest region of hell. Kamsa, Kamsa thus meditated on all the pros and cons of killing Devaki at that time. Kamsa finally decided not to kill Devaki right away, but to wait for the inevitable future. But his mind became absorbed in animosity against the personality of Godhead. He patiently waited for the deliverance of the child, expecting to kill him as he had done previously with the other babies of Devaki. Thus, being merged in the ocean of animosity against the personality of Godhead, he began to think of Krishna and Vishnu while sitting, while sleeping, while walking, while eating, while working, in all the situations of his life. His mind became so much absorbed with the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that indirectly he could see only Krishna or Vishnu around him. Unfortunately, although his mind was so absorbed in the thought of Vishnu, he is not recognized as a devotee because he was thinking of Krishna as an enemy. The state of mind of a great devotee is also to be always absorbed in Krishna, but a devotee thinks of him favorably, not unfavorably. To think of Krishna favorably is Krishna consciousness, but to think of Krishna unfavorably is not Krishna consciousness. At this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narada and followed by many other demigods, invisibly appeared in the house of Kamsa. They began to pray for the Supreme Personality of Godhead in select prayers, which are very pleasing to the devotees and which award fulfillment of their desires. The first words they spoke acclaimed that the Lord is true to his vow. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna descends in this material world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. That is his vow. The demigods could understand that the Lord had taken his residence within the womb of Devaki in order to fulfill this vow. The demigods were very glad that the Lord was appearing to fulfill his mission, and they addressed him as Satyam Param, or the Supreme Absolute Truth. Everyone is searching after the truth. That is the philosophical way of life. The demigods give information that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Krishna. One who becomes fully Krishna conscious can attain the Absolute Truth. Krishna is the Absolute Truth. Relative truth is not truth in all the three phases of eternal time. Time is divided into past, present, and future. Krishna is truth always, past, present, and future. In the material world, everything is being controlled by the supreme time. In the course of in the material world, everything is being controlled by supreme time in the course of past, present, and future. But before the creation, Krishna was existing. And when there is creation, everything is resting in Krishna. And when this creation is finished, Krishna will remain. Therefore, he is absolute truth in all circumstances. If there is any truth within this material world, it emanates from the supreme truth, Krishna. If there is any opulence within this material world, the cause of the opulence is Krishna. If there is any reputation within this material world, the cause of the reputation is Krishna. If there is any strength within this material world, the cause of such strength is Krishna. If there is any wisdom and education within this material world, the cause of such wisdom and education is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of all relative truths. So let us now have a quiz. We will continue to read later. So I hope all of you have heard. I want other devotees, newer devotees who have not answered so far, to attempt. I want devotees who have not answered so far to attempt the quiz. Okay? So let's see now who is going to answer. So here is the first question. When Krishna was present in the womb of Devaki, Devaki was compared. Devaki is compared to something. There are three analogies. I think two analogies, not three. Two analogies are given. What are the two analogies which are used to compare Devaki's position carrying Krishna but present in the custody of a demon like Kamsa? So what are the analogies given? Yes, Prakhar.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The first one is about suppressed fire, and the second one is
Yeah.
misused education.
Yes, very nice. So suppressed fire and misused education. So when fire is kept inside a container, its illumination is checked. It cannot spread everywhere. In the same way, even though Krishna was present within the womb of Devaki, but since she was present in the Kamsa's palace, prison house, her real greatness could not be appreciated. Kamsa could not appreciate the real greatness. Actually, Kamsa should have simply surrendered to Krishna, but since he was demon and he was having demoniac association, he could not actually favorably think about Krishna or Devaki. And the second analogy is misused education. Education is great, wisdom is great, but when it is in the custody or it is possessed by a demoniac person, it will be misused. Finally, no one will be benefited. So, in that way, Krishna was present within the womb of Devaki, but since it was in the prison house of Kamsa, it was not appreciated, and Kamsa himself could not appreciate the greatness of Devaki. Okay, the next question. Uh, yes. What is the reason uh, that Kamsa did not kill Devaki even after he got to know that Krishna has taken shelter within her womb? Why Kamsa did not kill? Yes, Alankrita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Hare
because
Krishna.
he thought that people would think that he is cruel and his
Yeah.
reputation would be uh, down, and then he also thought that cruel person is as good as death.
Yes, very nice. So you have answered one part of the reason, which is right. The second part, who can answer? Yes, Nanda Kumar can try. Add extra points to this answer.
The, that all his pious activity done is in life will be completely vanished.
Okay. There is one more important reason. Yes, Rohan.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Actually, Kamsa understood that Lord has taken the shelter of Mother Devaki. So, if
Okay.
in this situation, if he would have killed his own sister, he knew that Lord Krishna or Vishnu would come with full force and kill Kamsa. So he did not
Yes.
want to kill Devaki.
Yes, that's the right answer. That's the right answer. So both reasons, what Alankrita Mataji said, that he was worried about his reputation. A person who is cruel, even after death, people will curse him, and while he is living, everyone will be afraid of him. He will have a bad reputation. And secondly, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, has taken shelter within the womb of Devaki. At this position, if Kamsa does anything, Krishna will impose his supreme will more strongly, more vehemently. So, demon like Kamsa was very much aware of the power of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Therefore, he desisted from the evil act of killing Devaki. That's the right answer. Very nice. Okay, the last question for today before we close the session. So, all the devatas headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, they all appeared invisibly within the prison house of Kamsa, and they all started offering prayers to the Supreme Lord. As I mentioned, it's called Garbhastuti. Now, in the very beginning of their prayers, uh, how did the Devatas address the Supreme Lord? With what words? Okay, so who can answer? Shashi. Shashi can unmute and speak.
Prabhu.
Yeah. Yes.
They address the Lord as he is true to his vows.
Yeah. Any
And
other word? Any other words? Sanskrit word? Satyam Param.
Satyam, okay. Satyam Param.
Yeah. So in the very beginning of this Garbhastuti, the Devatas pray, Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam Satyasya Satyam Nihitam Cha Satye. Like this, they offer prayer. In one shloka, they use the word Satya about 9 times. Satya means the supreme absolute truth. Satya Vratam means he always keeps up his vow, the Supreme Lord. His promise is that whenever there is discrepancy of dharma in this material world, he shall personally come, protect the devotees, and annihilate the miscreants. This vow the Lord never forgets to keep up. Therefore, he is called Satya Vratam. And he is called Satya Param because he is the supreme absolute truth. All other truths are dependent upon him for their existence. And he is true in all the 3 phases of time, past, present, and future. Therefore, he is called the supreme absolute truth. So, if we study carefully the prayers offered by the Devatas to the Supreme Lord, a lot of philosophical understanding we will be able to get about Krishna, about the actual position of Krishna. So we will continue to read from this chapter in the next session. There are many wonderful prayers that the Devatas offered to the Supreme Lord, and Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains them. We will read them tomorrow. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Ki Jai. Vishwa Guru
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Okay.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.